All right, a lot coming up on the show tonight. A big show, as I said, exclusive interview with Israel's Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, Sharren Haskel, later, plus Miranda Devine coming up. But now let's jump straight into it with our panel. Labor legend Graham Richardson and filling in for Michael Kroger, Sky News host Caleb Bond. Welcome to you both. Now, I actually want to start with the fact that I'm being inundated with emails and messages from Australians who are stranded in Israel or their family members, and they're shocked that the Albanese government is doing almost nothing to help them evacuate the war zone. So the Albanese government rushed to bring Gazans here, but they aren't doing enough for Australian citizens in Israel. And I presume it would be the same for Australians who are in Iran. Richo, the government should be doing more, shouldn't they?
Yeah, the government should be doing more. I think there's an obvious gap here where that needs to be filled and needs to be filled quickly.
Caleb, this is a highly dangerous war zone. I mean, it's pretty irresponsible of the Albanese government. You know, my friend Joel Burney from AJAC, he's managed to get two groups of people out of Israel by evacuating them to Jordan, making sure they're met safely on the other side. The Albanese government's not doing that.
Yeah, and for those people, and I know a number of them who've been involved, it's been a bit of a traipse home, but that's part of the deal. I mean, it's not easy to get someone out of a war zone, but it's easier for a government to do it than it is for a private organisation to do it. Of course, airspace over Iran is pretty much closed at the moment. That's a different matter, but Israel is not. How hard can it be to get a few planes in there or to a nearby country like Jordan, get people over the border and get them out? If you really wanted to do it, you could do it. It takes logistics, it takes time, and it takes money. We've done it before. It's not like these options aren't available to us. So it doesn't, there's no obvious reason why you couldn't just do it now, send the planes over there, get it done, get them out there.
And they couldn't send them to Ben Gurion Airport because that is shut, but you're right, they could, of course, to Jordan or even potentially Egypt, but Jordan, I would say, is safer. Richo, just on the broader question of what I've been speaking about tonight, but the whole world is waiting to hear what Trump does. It does make sense for America to back in Israel just to finish the job, the last 10%, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I can't see a reason why we can't go along that line. Look, we muck around with these things too much. What it requires is decisive people who make big decisions and make them quickly. Not easy to do, but must be done.
No, indeed. Well, perhaps not easy for some to do. Caleb, why is the Albanese government so out of step with the rest of the world here? I mean, they can't praise Israel. They're finally using some harder language against Iran, but they're certainly not endorsing Israel's campaign, not explicitly.
I feel like they've been caught on the hop almost because, of course, we know that the attitude they've taken to the war throughout the entirety of this war. And so you come to a point like this, which is a pretty clear moral decision to be made for anyone in the West, which is that Iran, in one way or another, should not be able to have nuclear weapons, and that for the greater good of the entire world, let alone the West, it should not be allowed to have nuclear weapons. And I feel like Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese have reached a point now where they feel like if they were to say, well, actually, Israel is doing something good for the world now, it would negate everything else they have said throughout the war. And so they find themselves in this difficult position of thinking they have to be consistent in everything they've said to this point. You know, they can admit, look, we haven't been on board with Israel the whole time, but on this point specifically, we agree with what they are doing, which is for the benefit of the West. If they can't even concede that, it is absolute weakness, which probably goes to part of the reason.
It is absolute weakness.
It goes to part of the reason that Donald Trump didn't want anything to do with it.